guys, and welcome back to another episode of Genshin Impact Hangout Events. In the last episode, we got another ending in Kaveh's Hangout Events, and in this episode, we'll be getting yet another, wrong button. Oh, that's terrifying. Seeing the inside of Sayu's head, oh my goodness. Alright, what did we get last time? I really need to move the camera, that is so creepy. Last time we got this one. And in this episode, we'll be going back to Concealed Circumstances and see if we can't get this other branch. Okay, Sayu, I love you, sweetie, but I don't want to see inside your head. It's very creepy. Alright, down to Abuadormos. The dreaded loading screen of death. Oh my god. Don't get stuck on Electro, please. It always goes the slowest to Electro and Dendro. Excuse me. Okay. Rollin', 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 gotta keep on rollin', 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 rollin'. Hello!
We meet again.
Huh? Why are you guys here?
That's what we wanted to ask you. Who are you? Why did you dress up like a merchant to talk to me about our project? There's no need for us to continue this project if you still want to keep hiding things from us. I don't work with individuals I can't trust.
Believe me, I didn't have any bad intentions. It's just... All right, there's no point hiding anything anymore. The building I'm trying to commission you for is not really a personal residence for me, but rather a library for children living in the desert.
A library? Funded entirely by yourself? Shouldn't this be the responsibility of the academia? I've heard that the academia will be looking to prioritize the desert with the allocation of educational resources and materials. It sent over a large shipment of regular goods just last month.
You're right, and I was aware of these happenings as well. I just figured what I want to do is a separate effort from what's already being done by the academia. The desert is too vast. Even if the academia spends a lot of effort trying to disseminate knowledge in those parts, it might still take decades, if not centuries, to reduce the educational gap that already exists between the two regions. And what's more, I don't know if the academia would ever reverse its stance in the future. All I know is that as a desert dweller, we should not wait passively for good things to happen to us. If we only did that, we'd never be able to stand up and hold our heads high. I don't have much longer left on this world, so I just want to use whatever time I have to contribute something to my homeland.
Is that why you felt the need to lie?
I didn't want you to know that I came from the desert. I've lived in the desert my entire life, and there wasn't anyone here that I could trust. I figured I needed as much safety as I could get.
To the point that you even disguised your identity? That's certainly taking playing it safe to the next level. Hold on. Don't tell me you've also been scammed before.
When I first came to Sumeru City, I brought a lot of Mora, hoping to find an architect that I could work with. Someone agreed to take on the project, and even took a sum of Mora from me, but then disappeared without a trace. After that, I heard that there are a lot of untrustworthy people in this business. Some would run as soon as they've been paid, while others would deliberately use expensive materials and take a cut of the construction funding. I spent a while collecting information in the city, and eventually learned that you're the most famous architect in all of Sumeru. I figured that you wouldn't need to make Mora by scamming people, so I decided to reach out to you. By the way, how did you know I was scammed? I don't think I've ever mentioned that to anybody.
Just a hunch. A while ago, I accepted an offer to work on a project in the desert, and was also scammed out of a large sum of Mora. I ran into someone who was living in a pretty run-down house. I noticed a load-bearing wall on the verge of collapse, and suggested that I build a new house for him. He said that he had no way to pay for it, so I loaned him some of my own Mora, and told him to get some stone and timber from the local vendors. Soon after that, I found out that he had gone gambling with all the money, and lost everything, down to the last coin. And after that, he even borrowed Mora from me twice more, using a different excuse each time. I didn't even suspect him of any wrongdoing until he hired a group of mercenaries and tried to ambush me in his own house. According to him, I looked like an easy target because I was an academia scholar who didn't have any family or friends in the desert. What kind of person would just look at someone else and think, this guy looks like an easy target?
Those kinds of things do happen every once in a while, yes. Folks like him are the exact reason why us desert dwellers' reputation have gone down the drain. I must apologize to you on their behalf.
It's all right. You were also scammed by someone from Kasharwar after all. I should apologize to you on their behalf. Ultimately, neither of our experiences had anything to do with the desert or the rainforest. People who are new to an area are always easy targets for criminals.
Bad people are indeed everywhere.
Yeah, you'll find both good and bad people everywhere. I can't understand the logic of those who like to take advantage of others, but I have to accept their existence as a fact of life. Anyway, I digress. Let's return to the topic at hand. Did you keep rejecting my designs because you thought I was deliberately using expensive materials to take a cut as a middleman?
That's what I was afraid of initially, yes. I eventually understood that you weren't out to cheat me. But unfortunately, I still don't have nearly enough Mora to pay for the design you proposed. I've done the math and know that we should be able to make it if we cut some corners. However, after our conversations, I can see that you're passionate about your design, and I'm quite fond of the proposal as well. So, I decided to try and see if I can afford your proposal as is. I've been looking for work every day, and in another month, I should be able to cobble together enough Mora to meet the budget.
By cobble together, you mean you're going to spend your entire life savings on this project? But then, what will you do if something unexpected comes up, and you find yourself stuck with no emergency fund?
To be honest, I haven't really thought about that. I mean, when you've lived to be my age and something happens, you can't really call it unexpected anymore. All I want is to build this library before I leave this world, so that the children of the future would have some books to read, and the desert dwellers would be able to learn their letters and pick up some practical knowledge.
You seem very passionate about this project.
A while ago, I heard that the academia had decided to recruit a number of exceptional children from the desert. Of course, this is welcomed news. But as someone who's spent their entire life in the desert, I still have a few concerns. I know the desert life and can predict what the problems will be. Many children from the desert have had neither the interest nor the proper environment to learn. So even if the academia would take them in, once they enter the halls, they might find themselves surrounded by other children who look and act very differently from them. And as a result, they might become socially isolated.
Yes, I can imagine that. My father passed away at an early age. Even though I had a good number of friends during my years at the academia, for some time I still sensed many critical looks in my direction. I'm sure a child coming all the way from the desert will have an even harder time. But let's bring this back to the building itself. I think you said that you want this building to be quiet and warm. with its doors serving as a solid barrier to block out the sound and fury outside, and allow one to focus on the book in their hands. Building it according to the current plan will be quite costly. Even if I don't charge you any commission fees, I don't think we'd be able to keep it under your budget. Any ideas on what we can do?
Would any other merchants be willing to sponsor the project?
Sponsor the project? You mean convince wealthy merchants to join our cause and pool their money together to build the library? That does make sense. A library is a big project, and it's going to be hard to fund it with just a single person's mora. What do you think? If we can find others to sponsor the project, we could potentially increase the size of the building 2- or 3-fold.
It's all fine with me, but where do you think we'll be able to find these sponsors?
Well, you're right. If I really think about it, I'm not too familiar with many big-name merchants.
Can we ask Dory?
Her? Hard pass. With her shrewd and greedy personality, she would never put Mora into something like this.
But maybe she can connect us with some of her contacts.
Now there's an idea. She probably won't say no if all she'll need to do is to make some introductions instead of spending Mora. Let's go and pay her a visit.
And of course, she's at the palace of I still can't. Kaveh, why'd you give this place such a complicated name? I can't even say it.
And the way... Now here is some unexpected guests.
Dory!
New to the palace of Alcazar's Ray. When I saw Kaveh, I almost thought it must be that time of month again. Sadly for me, I must wait a few more days before I can collect my shiny Mora.
Hey, can't you think of something else for a change? You are literally living in an objet d'art, and yet your mind is still fixated on nothing but Mora? What is the point of wealth, anyway? Is your happiness entirely dependent on your hoard of cold, emotionless Mora?
That's exactly right. Mora is extremely valuable, you see. If you don't keep your mind on it, your Mora may just find its way to somebody else's pockets. If you ask me, this place is still way too empty. Just give me some time and I'll fill it to the brim with lots and lots of Mora.
You're hopeless.
Let's focus and get back to why we're here.
Oh, so you have an actual reason to visit me? Alright, let's hear it.
We would like to ask for your help in introducing us to some merchants.
Merchants? Why? Is there some kind of business opportunity? Oh, I see. So you're just looking for someone to help you fit the bill.
I knew you wouldn't be interested in something like this. Still, you wouldn't refuse just making some introductions for us, would you?
Sure, I can connect you with some folks, but with every service comes a fee, you know.
A fee? You mean just for introductions?
Of course! Making introductions means using my connections and putting my reputation on the line. Why wouldn't I charge a fee for something so important?
Oh, Dory.
No need to
Oh,
wait so
Dory.
long, though. I'll give you a huge returning customer discount. How about 500,000 Mora?
That's still a lot.
100,000? I guess that's okay. But why are you charging a fee before we've even secured any funding? That just doesn't seem right. Besides, by helping us out, you'd be doing a great service to the public. Can't you take your mind off your Mora even for just 1 second and focus on something far more important?
passionate about this project, I'll help you out and waive the introduction fees.
How
Three
nice of
business
you,
partners
Dory.
came by earlier today to discuss some things with me, and they still haven't left yet. I'll arrange a meeting for you, and just so we're clear, it'll be up to you to present your project and discuss any deals.
Thank you, Dory.
Thank you so much.
He sounds
You
so
wait here, I'll hand
begrudging.
it over to you.
Dory gave us a brief introduction about the two of you. You are Kaveh, the renowned architect, and you are the traveler. Practically all of Teyvat has heard of you by now. To be frank, I don't feel like there's an obvious business opportunity here, but since Dory took the time to introduce you, we can spend some time to have a conversation. So, let's hear your idea.
All right, here's the situation. I've been commissioned to build a library in the desert, with the intended goal of allowing the desert dwellers to have more access to reading materials.
So it's a public welfare project.
Correct.
Then the commission fees will likely be very low. You should be careful.
I'm not too concerned about how much I'll get for the commission fees, actually. I'm fine with doing it for free. I just want to get this project rolling as soon as possible. We're just a little short on funding.
So what? You can't possibly expect that we just cover the shortfall for you. Besides, what does a library in the desert have to do with us? If you want to build it yourself with your own Mora. Seems simple enough to me.
Hey, there's no need to be so harsh. They are Dory's associates after all. Here, can you tell us a bit more about what we can gain from sponsoring this project?
You can get Kaveh's client to advertise your businesses in the desert. That sounds reasonable enough to me.
So we'd mostly be doing it for reputation and exposure? There is some value to that. It could make doing business in the desert a bit easier.
Well, just speaking for myself, I've got nothing in the desert.
I also have a concern. It feels like there's not much to profit from in the short term. But in the long term, the reputation gain also doesn't sound like it'd offset the cost of the sponsorship.
Then how about this? What if, instead of building a single library, we commit to an entire complex of buildings dedicated to culture and education?
Wouldn't that just cost more?
Yes, but in that case... Mr. Kaveh, please tell us what you have in mind.
I'll just give an example. If we were to build a library and a school near Aru Village, then the desert dwellers would gradually begin to migrate towards the area. A whole suite of buildings will be able to host more traffic, and thus drive the economic development of the entire area. In turn, that would lead to direct business opportunities. I've been to the desert several times. Although there are still many lingering tensions between the two regions, the amount of interaction has been steadily increasing, and in the long term, the desert will only become more and more important to Sumeru.
You do have a point.
Education in the desert is indeed an industry that has not been tapped into. If we can be the first to place stakes in the area.
And you just believe anything he tells you?
Even the greenest amateurs know that urban planning will affect population flow. If you don't believe me, you can ask anyone on the street to confirm it to you.
You...
Kaveh just called him stupid! Please only ask questions that are relevant to the discussion.
Wait, something just occurred to me. If we're going to build a library in the desert, Aru Village would obviously be the best place for it. But it seems we're not the only ones with our eyes on the village. I heard a rumor a while back saying a lot of land and buildings in Aru Village have already been secretly purchased by a big-name merchant.
What?
What?
In other words, if we try to join the fray now, there won't be much left for us. If we want to build a suite of buildings focused on education and culture, Aru Village is the prime location. If we want to build it anywhere else, we'll have to deal with a far larger list of problems. It's not impossible, I suppose, but...
Then there's no hurry. We can wait for Aru Village to develop more first and get into the market for expansion to other areas.
But if you were to do that...
Is there nothing else to discuss? Great timing! I pretty much heard all I want to hear. If there are no other urgent matters, I'll be on my way.
I'll be off as well. If you have any new ideas, please feel free to reach out.
It seems like the others are not interested in funding this, so no point in me doing this on my own. Let's revisit this another time.
Hey, guys, wait! Well, what can I say? I guess it went somewhat as expected. They are Dory's friends, after all. As soon as they heard that there's not much more in this for them, they lost all interest.
It's just business, I guess.
Yeah, it's just another day doing business with people. But I can never get used to that. Those people never think of anyone other than themselves. Looks like we'll have to figure out some other way to get the funding. Let's go.
How did the meeting go? Want to talk about it? Oh, where did all that passion go from earlier, I take it you weren't able to find a sponsor for your project?
Please don't tell me that you're here to mock us.
What kind of person do you take me for? Would the kind and generous Lord Sakuma Bay really do such a thing? I will say, though, I more or less expected this outcome even before I introduced them to you. You can try to talk up the project all you want, but the facts will remain the same. This project is high investment with slow returns. No sane person would put their money into this.
But this isn't just a business project, right? Also, if you already knew no one would want to partner with us, why did you still try to charge me 500,000 mora? You scammer!
You might want to remember who your creditor is before you start talking like that, Kaveh.
I'll pay back every last coin that I still owe you, but that's a completely different matter.
Alright, since you're so devastated about this, I'll set you up for dinner with another big-name merchant. In fact, I'll be inviting the most famous merchant in all of Sumeru, so I'll be counting on your performance.
What? Really? I would like to sincerely apologize for my attitude just
Quick
now.
change of attitude.
So, where would we be meeting this merchant?
Follow me. Oh, I suppose both of you can come.
I just wish that some people would actually do their jobs.
This is the place.
You said you're going to introduce us to the most famous merchant in Sumeru. Well, where are they?
You still don't get it, huh? The most famous merchant in Sumeru?
Is you.
Huh? So you meant yourself all along? Then why did you bring us here?
Well, I've given it some thought, and that complex of education and culture buildings that you mentioned does hold some promise. It'll be a pretty big Mora sink, and I'll have to fund it all on my own, but that's not really a problem for me.
Seriously? Where's this generosity coming from so suddenly? Are you trying to scam me again?
The reasons are not important. What's important is that I'm willing to help you. However, you know just as well as me that once this project actually breaks ground, it'll start sucking Mora from my pockets like crazy. So, to cut costs...
I get it. I won't charge any commission fees, and I'll take responsibility for the entire project.
Splendid! Then let's sign the contract right away.
Woohoo!
This way, the children of the desert will have some books to read. Their lives should improve a bit after this.
You seem rather pleased.
Of course, there are a few things better than using my knowledge to help other people change their fates. I must thank you as well, Dory. I used to say you only cared about Mora, which might have been some prejudice on my part. Sorry for that. I will also try to pay back my debts as soon as possible. Now, let's have a quick discussion. Where would you want the library to be built? That will be the most important building.
There's no rush. I'll provide you with a copy of the deed when we get back. You can just use the address on the document to find the lot.
Huh? The deed?
Dory's the one that bought all that land in Aru Village. You sneaky, sneaky little gremlin.
So hold on a sec. The person who has been buying up everything around Aru Village was you all along?
Oh my, did I not tell you about that? Yep, yours truly has been buying up all the land. I must thank you for bringing your ideas to me. Before our conversation, I had no idea what to build on all those lots. So, from my perspective, this has been a great turn of events. I didn't put much in and easily got a lot in return.
But what about my commission fees?
Huh? Didn't you waive those yourself? I was just gonna say that to Kakas. We mustn't procrastinate and should start construction as soon as possible. But before I could finish my sentence, you volunteered to waive your commission fees and even promised to take responsibility for the whole project from start to finish.
Oh, Kave's big mouth got it.
Really?
Kaveh, you have a
Obvious that you
big
used
mouth.
every trick in the book to deceive me. You deliberately paused for a long time while talking about the project and kept glancing at me with that menacing look in your eyes.
Huh? You really think so? Well, the contract's already been signed, so there's no point in dwelling on the details. You know what? I'll pay for tonight's dinner.
Fine.
Kaveh.
I'll drop the argument on the commission fees. But since you said you're paying for dinner, I'm going to order the best dishes and booze this place has to offer, and lots of it. Tonight, we're feasting until I've recouped my full commission fees.
Kaveh. Oh, that picture's so cute. God, I love you, Kaveh. I love you so much, Kaveh. Oh, this man. This man. I adore him, I swear. Oh my goodness. Okay, so got that. There's one more ending. Go back to Tavern Heart to Heart next time and try to get this last branch right here. That's about it for this episode. I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye!
With